World, happy Sunday. My name is Nicholas Coriano. Happy Halloween. It is October 31st, 2021. And today's vlog, we're going to talk about dilution. I'm bringing back the Investor Relations 101 series. If you've been following my vlog, this is a place where I document my journey. And I'm really in a cow outfit. So this is my Halloween costume. I'm going to let you guys in. I dress up as the same thing every year. It's the cash cow. That's how obsessed I am with business. That's how obsessed I am, man. I dress up every year as a cash cow. But today, specifically, we're going to talk about three things. I'm bringing back the Investor Relations series. I've been trying to help people online learn about investments. So I've made videos on what is the market cap of a company, what is the earnings per share of a company, what is the balance sheet, what's the income statement, what's the cash flow, what are all these things, so I can educate the investing public, because that's one of my life's mission. As corny as it sounds, my life mission is to help other people get richer. So we're going to bring that back. Investor Relations 101. If you search Nicholas Coriano Investor Relations 101, you'll see it here in my vlog, An Entrepreneur's Journey, where I really document what I learned on a timely basis. So as soon as I learn something, that I'm like, damn, that's important, I go back and make a video so I don't forget about it. And I think this is a super important topic, dilution. So we're bringing back the Investor Relations 101 series here. The second thing, so number one, we're bringing it back. Number two, we're going to go over dilution, and we're going to talk about everything. We're going to define it. And I'm going to use 3DX as an example so everybody knows what's going on. And hopefully this is the last time I have to mention this. If it ever happens again, you guys can, refer back to this video. And then number three, I'm going to talk about what happened on Twitter, where I had one shareholder. This is why I'm making this video. A shareholder said, hey, you guys issued new shares. Let me know what's up, or I'm going to take my investment somewhere else. And another investor came in and was like, hey, man, the stock went up 300%. What are you bothering this guy for? Let him grow the business. The other one's like, well, they issued this many shares. It's warranted that we have an explanation. And the other one was like, man, I like you, but we're gonna tackle all those three things. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. My name is Nick. I went to business school, went to law school, graduated both. Have a real estate portfolio of 29 apartments, over 36 pieces of land. I've written 1,000 business plans for clients, and that's how that's how 3DX found me organically. They found me to write a business plan, and when they found me, they were looking to raise money. And I basically told them, look, you don't need to raise money. You need to build a real business and use your vehicle, your stock, your public company vehicle to attract the resources you need, which isn't only money. So I've been in the OTC sector since 2012, and the story for 99% of them is the same thing. Just give us $1 million and we have this crazy idea and we'll make $1 billion, and it almost never happens because they're not focused on building a real business. So that's how I got to 3DX. They ended up bringing me on as the vice president, and I sit on the board. My only compensation at 3DX is stock. So that's I want to preface this conversation with that to let you guys understand I am very conscious about the stock price. I'm very conscious about creating shareholder value that will translate to the stock, because it's the only way that I'm compensated. And that's how confident I am in what I'm doing at 3DX, the capabilities of 3DX, the prospects of 3DX. So let's start, right? The biggest thing here we want to talk about is dilution. So I came up with the definition. I got the definition offline because I wanted to discuss it. I've talked to dozens of shareholders at 3DX, and every time they mention the word dilution, it's a different. Let me shut this alarm off here. It's a different definition. They all have a different definition, right? They like, no, that's not dilution. This is what I mean by dilution. So I pulled up the definition. Stock dilution, also known as equity dilution, is the decrease in existing shareholders' ownership percentage of a company as a result of the company issuing new equity. New equity increases the total shares outstanding, which has a dilutive effect on the ownership percentage of the existing shareholders. So this really comes up a lot in the OTC sector. Why? Because you have these crazy, shady CEOs who issue, 25, 30% more shares. And then you look a year later and nothing happened. And you're like, yo, why did they issue all these shares? I now went from owning, 5% or 4% of the company to 1% of the company, and the company's worth less and it's more in debt, right? So I understand the question that I think is Jacqueline. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'm not looking at Twitter right now. Ash, it's well warranted. So to be very specific, we have past debt holders that have conversions on the books, right? So they're going to convert at a lower price sometime in the future, unless they decide to take a payout, right? Some of those conversions were there before I got there in April. So to answer your question, is stock dilution going to happen? Yeah, the short answer is yeah, right? If we wanted to bring on members, if you looked at our balance sheet or our income statement, what you guys bought before I got here was a failing company. Let's be real, right? If you guys talk to me on the phone, you guys know I'm as honest as they come. And as far as the financials, their technology, they're winning. But as far as their financials, look, they had $2.8 million, $3 million in debt last year. The year before, they had $2.9 million in debt. Last year, they had $253,000 in assets. The year before, $456,000. So they're upside down on their balance sheet. And I'm going to look over here so I don't misquote. But their income, negative, operating income negative for the last 4 years. So I'm here to turn that around. How do you turn that around? So my mission when I first got here was to build the dream team. I said, look, you can't build $1 billion business with just 2-3 guys there. And you see most of these OTC companies, right? You go on OTC markets and you look up their executives and it's like Bob, CEO, Bob, VP, Bob, accountant, Bob, secretary, right? Almost guaranteed that company's not going to become $1 billion company and it's not going to win. Why? You need a dream team. You need the right guys there. So one of the first things I did was bring the right guys on. I'm talking about guys that on average would probably command $100,000 a year. I managed to get them on for 100,000 shares on 2-year contracts. This is when the price was at 10 cents. So imagine trying to sell a guy on the idea, hey, come work for us for 2 years, but I'm only going to give you $10,000 of current stock value. That took a little selling, right? And the future prospects and understanding, hey, this is where the stock could be. Is that dilution? Yeah, well, by the definition term, yeah, we issued more shares, right, to get those guys on. Does it make the company more valuable? I think so. I mean, this is for you guys to make your own decisions. I'm going to try to be as separated from the situation while I explain this as possible so you guys can make your own decisions. But is it stock dilution when I issue more shares to bring on a top tier executive or a lawyer or an accountant? Yeah, you issued more shares. So that's a form of dilution. If we issued more shares to bring in capital, $2 million, is that stock dilution? Yeah, right? Does the price that it converts at, does that matter? Absolutely. Look, I would love to put a private placement out there, raise $2 million at $1 a share, while the stock price is trading at 29 cents a share. But it's a hard sell when you got $3 million in liabilities and negative cash flow, right? So the first deal is always the rawest deal. We got a great deal with RB Capital. Now, if somebody comes in like RB Capital and says, hey, we're going to give you guys $2 million, but, give us a kicker on some free trading shares. Maybe we can buy out some of that old debt and you give us a better price on it. Do we do it? Yeah, because $2 million changes the trajectory of the company. I don't have to worry about any more investments. I don't have to worry about any more raw deals. So is that dilution? Yeah, right? So the question, I think, is prefaced wrong. Most people on the OTC sector, and for good reason, by the way, guys, for really good reason, say, oh, why are you guys issuing more shares? Oh, you're diluting my position. Mainly because, and like I said, I've been here, right? I've been not at 3DS, but I've been in the OTC sector long enough to know I got disenfranchised. I'll make another video about this, why I quit the OTC sector, because it was just a bunch of people that wanted to financially maneuver things. And, they wanted to get the stock price from 20 cents to $10 and not build a real business, which you can totally do, by the way, right? They can financially maneuver in the mechanics of it. But I wanted to build a real business. And finally, I found a company that was willing to do that. So when you talk about dilution, right, you want to ask yourself, what are they doing with the shares? Did it really add value to the company? Because if you're really being honest with yourself, a lot of these OTC companies, what you bought was debt. You bought an equity position, but you bought an equity position in a company that, had a ton of debt. It was upside down on their balance sheet. They had negative operating cash flow, right? So how does that change? What changes there? Well, for me, it's you got to bring on top talent. And that's you're going to have to issue more shares for. You're going to have to do some kind of capital raise at some point. There's going to be diluted shares there. You're going to have to get rid of some debt, right? You're going to have to issue some shares there. Now, when that's done, and you have a profitable company, and you have a company with no debt, and you have a company with, positive cash flow, and it's growing, does it matter? Nah, it doesn't really matter. So from the definition of, what's going on with the stock dilution, right? Is there stock dilution? The short answer is yeah, there's stock dilution. I wish I could be like, no stock dilution. Now, keep in mind, When Pepsi or Coca-Cola or Tesla issue new stock, no one talks about it, right? No one even notices. In a Pepsi scenario, they don't notice because the dividend keeps getting paid out. So it doesn't matter that you own less, you're still getting the same percentage on the dividend. And in Tesla's situation, right, it doesn't matter because the stock still goes up. So people don't complain about it, right? So we ask for, at 3DX specifically, I'm asking for patience while we get through this rough patch of turning the company around. We got to turn the company around, right? We're not here to stay stagnant. And it's not about how much of the pie you own. It's about what kind of pie you own, right? So I went through this earlier in my career where it was like, I want to own more percent. I want to own more percent, but I was owning 100% of nothing, right? I'd rather own 5% of something that's super valuable than, 20% of something that's guaranteed to go to zero because the fundamentals are wrong, right? So, to answer the concerns of investors, I'm not worried about it. And my only paycheck here comes in the form of stock. I signed a 5-year contract back in April to get us to the NASDAQ, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I wouldn't worry about it. Now, I want to touch a little bit on this conversation that they were having on Twitter, because this person, rightfully so, by the way, Jacqueline, said, hey, what's up with this stock dilution? I want to know what's going on, right? And she caught me, my bad. I picked up the phone at, 7 a.m. on Friday or 9 a.m. on Friday. And it was the first thing I read, and it got me in this stock dilution. What you talking about? What you talking about, man? I'm over here building a great business, man. How you gonna attack me on a Friday? And I felt some type of way. And I know I not to ever respond in anything, right away, and to take a breath. And then when I logged back in on Twitter, I saw Hulk Investments, getting at this girl like, hey, I like you, but calm down. The stock went up 300%. And it reminded me of another thing that's super important in investments, which is to stay calm, right? To stay calm and ask the right questions. Both of those people had valid points. Like Jacqueline absolutely has a valid point asking us where the dilution came from, right? Or if there was more to come, right? Super valid point. And we want to address that, right? We don't want to sweep that under the rug like, oh, no, it's not happening. No, be transparent. This is what this is why you're public, right? So she had a valid point, and Hulk had a valid point, right? A lot of the things he said, I agree with. Like, we're building a company. We acquired a stock portfolio. We acquired real estate. We acquired another business, which is going to increase our revenue. We acquired the necessary human resources to put on our board, which is a criteria for the NASDAQ, right? We did all these things in the short 5-6 months I've been here. So he was super right too. But the point is, they were both right. And you have to stay calm, because either one of them, right? Like, I hope right away messaged me like, hey, address this situation, man, because everybody's going to panic. And she's like, hey, I'm going to take my investment somewhere else, right? And listen, not for nothing, if she did take her investment somewhere else, I love the idea of saying I told you so later, because I kicked butt, right? So I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna make sure I do my job and grow this business. But regardless, stay calm when you're investing. You should really take emotion out of investing. And I appreciate the question. I appreciate, Jacqueline going out our limit and asking that question. And I appreciate Hulk defending our position, right? But stay calm. Stay calm, guys, right? So on Twitter, when you guys are talking, and if you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll make a video addressing them. And I hope this video addressed the question. I hope the cash cow addressed the question. And if you guys have any more questions, I will be more than happy to answer any of your money questions. Sorry for the cheesy joke, man. It's Halloween, man. I hope you guys are great. I hope that answered the question. If not, get on a call with me specifically and I'll answer any questions. But we're going to not be in the habit of, fronting anything that's going to come out on the financials. We're very transparent. We're a public company. You can read it all there. We're not trying to hide anything. We're just trying to build a real business. So keep that in mind. And like I said, if you guys have any other questions, put them in the comments section below. And hope you guys are fantastic. Stay motivated. Thank you for being 3DX shareholders. And we'll talk soon, guys.